Good afternoon, everybody. This is Neutron Bomb. It is Saturday. I believe today is the 18th of April already. And just wanted to come and do another video with you all and show you the latest Hummel that I have received this week, and share that reveal. And also, I think this afternoon we'll do something a little different, a little special. So when we get finished with this review and opening of the latest Hummel that I've received, we'll look at something else that is quite unique and in-depth. So this video may be a little longer than what I've been doing here lately. But I wanted to come and tell you what I'm about to show you is a little Humm figure 184. It's called Latest News, and its history, it goes all the way back to 1946. Arthur Mueller was the original sculptor on this, and it has been modified some, and we'll look at that. But let's get on with the reveal. The box came, it's in a very sturdy box. The figure came, it's not bad. It has some movement going around in that box. I like to pack my breakables in such a way where there is no movement, and if at all possible to keep anything, especially a breakable. So excuse me, we're opening, and I admit I did take a peek at this one earlier, but this is exactly how it came to me. It is wrapped in priority mail bubble wrapping, and it also had in it the figure itself. If you can see that, I don't know if you can see that or not. It's paper towel, heavy duty paper towel, but it's rough. And I've said this before, the figure friction gets on these very delicate paints and on these figures, and they're very old, so it's the paint is fragile even on these. So you see me, I always have my gloves on when I'm handling the figures. People say, what are the gloves about? Is to keep the oil off of the figure and to keep dirt and really getting on there. Every time you have to wash one of these, you take a risk of scuffing the paint or the paint just flaking off. So, but here's latest news, and this was an excellent figure. And you see on here it says Münchener Press. I guess I'm pronouncing that right. I do not speak German. But the interesting point about this figure is that through its history, you used to be able, when it first came out, Goebel would allow on the orders that you could put your local newspaper header on this by request at a cost, I'm sure. But it was a specialty item, and you could have that done. And then later that was ceased, and they have three, and the three headlines, the earliest, or one of the earlier ones, is this one. It is the Münchener Press, and the other two, let me just look at my note here, is the Das Allerneust and Latest News. So this is a mid 1960 to 1963. It's a TMK3. I can see that there. That is the large stylized B. So I can date this figure to 1960 to 1963, maybe a little overlap there. I was born in 1962, I don't mind telling you. So this figure is the same age I am. Boy, you're an old fellow, I promise. But this is in excellent condition. A small little bite right there on the base, but barely noticeable. And I mean, it's really been taken well care of, because there's no chips, cracks, scuffs. Crazing is even good, which indicates to me that the temperatures in which this figure has been stored have been maintained very well. but you see the detail, particularly on the paper corners, being way out there like that, being exposed. I would expect some chips to be possible. But latest news, there are variations in this figure. As you can see, when he's looking, he looks like he's reading the newspaper or over the newspaper in this one. Some of these figures, the eye will be down, cast down, and they look more. Or another variation is that the eyes would be almost shut, like they were looking down. But anyway, that is the figure itself. And let's move on, if we will. I can give you the background about this figure for me. I got it off of an eBay auction, and I was looking for the best price that I can possibly get, I guess, for the oldest figure. And it caught my attention because not so much the price, but the fact that the comp range was, I was able to get this figure at the even below the lowest comp range on eBay. The comp range right now, as I was looking it up, was $25 to $325, and the Hummel Value Guide has the TMK3 at $255 to $300. So I know that this is a good investment because I go deeper and I look at the sales. I look at the latest sold. In the last 90 days, 22 of these things have been sold on eBay, about one every 4 days. And the range on their price was pretty significant, 172 all the way up to $172 and down. Somebody simply got a deal. It was $7.50, but that must have had a chip, must have cracked, must have had a repair. Typically, when you see that really low price on these figures as it applies to anything else, there's something wrong with it. Be suspicious if you see a very low price on a Hummel. But I have had them at the same time where the low price, the people who were selling the figure itself, they simply did not know what they had. And of course, I'm creating competition for myself by giving this information to you all, but I hope it's informative. And now what I want to do, as it is relating to latest news, is do a special review in much more detail than I normally would do, but because of someone who viewed one of my YouTube videos, asked me about if I had any other information about the latest news. And I dug in, and she sent me some pictures and gave me that information. So I'm going to share that with you. And she has given me permission to share the pictures of her figure, and we are going to explore those together. We'll be right back with you in just a bit. Okay, everybody, this is the in-depth detail looking at Miss Teresa Boyd. Sent me a comment, and she said that she had this latest news figure, and she says, here are a couple of the photos of mine. Thank you for your assistance. She had asked me if I was willing to review them, and I said, sure, I can do that if you'll send me the pictures. And this is the pictures, and what we're looking at here, as you can see, this is what is referred to as a waffle base on Hummel figures, and it's a TMK2. It was before Germany was separated because there's no W period Germany. This handwriting here is really when one of the owners that had purchased it, or people who had owned it in the past, had written on the figure. And then we know that it's latest news because of this 184. And as we continue to look at it, there's she actually has the same figure that I have, the Münchener press. I'm probably slaughtering that word. But I know for a fact that hers is older simply because it is the waffle base and it's a TMK2. The TMK2 would have been 45-ish to forward, 59, somewhere around there. So here's what I have told Teresa and shared with her. And I told her, I said, you know, I looked at it, and the current Hummel value, guys, I had said was 330 to 420. Now it's going to be different than what I said for mine, obviously, because of hers being a decade earlier and one of the earlier figurines. So that's the difference in the values there. But I did a quick comparison on the TMK2s for her as well, and you can see it's a little bit different for her. It depends on what people are willing to pay at that time for a TMK2. The TMK3, as I had shared, was upwards around 170. TMK2 is sold for 110 down to $9.99. So kind of long response to her, but I think this is worthwhile to share some of the information, even if it's coming out of this email. And this is my summary to her, and that is what I'll be speaking to in just a moment. Okay, folks, so there we saw Teresa sharing with me and saying, hey, she's reaching out and she wants to know more about her particular figure, and that was really exciting for me to get that request. Actually, I was kind of humbled at the same time. And you know, so that gave Teresa, you gave me an opportunity, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate you allowing me to share the pictures of your figurines. There are others there, y'all, that she has that are very, very beautiful. She's got a very nice collection going there, and I commend her for that. But as we look at the detail, that's what I want to share with you about her latest news figure. She has a significant piece of history there, in my opinion, and right now at this time, when you go out and you're looking at Hummel figurines, people are going to be saying, "Oh, they're not really worth that much." So, you know, but they are down. I've said that before in my other videos. They are down right now, but they peak. They peak at their birthdays, and you got to know when then to be able to determine the highest value for a particular figurine, when its birthday was, and when it will peak will be every 25th, 50th, 75th, 100th year. Yeah, some of those will peak again. Most of us won't be living at that time, but you know, my objective is to be collecting. I'm going to pass these on to my daughter, basically. I have yet to really sell a figurine, but I'm using the same techniques that we use to determine value on any other item to see what I possibly could get for it on eBay. And I know that you can use this information that we're about to talk about. It's a history search. It is a treasure hunt. Primetime will give me 2 thumbs up on that. He has inspired me. I tell you, you know, it's going to sound like I'm really hugging him up a little bit, I guess, but I'm not. The Primetime Treasure Hunter, the Resource Reselling Center group. This is why I'm doing this right now, frankly. I never thought I'd be on YouTube, much less trying to share information about Hummel figurines. And so let me just share some points with you as I did this research with Teresa, talked with her about it, have shared this to her, and now she is more empowered to be able to determine the value of her figure. It's just one, the latest news. So this figure, understand, the figures are turning over now. The older generation that was collecting these, the baby boomers, really the builders, the baby boomers, they are turning these figures over now, and they are giving collectors from the boomers area, or either getting rid of their collections or they're cashing them in. There are opportunities here for that, is what I'm looking at. And the older figures are what we're going to see starting to pop up and be available. Number two, the market is down, but I just pay attention to the date in which it was made and when the next birthday is going to come up. As with any other figure, as with any other item that we might get on eBay, buy it low. If you're buying it low, you're going to do well with the figure if there's a market for it. There's a market there for Hummel figurines. If you will, go and do a search. Do a search on TMK3 latest news, and you'll see. I told you there were 22 that have already sold in the last 90 days. It's a pretty busy market. A lot of people out there looking for these figures. I know your figure is an earlier mid-era, I told Teresa, TMK2, due to the square body base and particularly the waffled bottom with the stamped full B. How do I know those things? Well, I've just simply looked them up and studied and self-taught. But that waffle bottom is an immediate giveaway. Now, I don't know if y'all recall it. You can rewind and look. But on her figure, there beside the stamped trademark TMK, the B, the full B there, was an R in parentheses. And what that means is that the figure was simply registered with Goebel. As far as value goes, no implication there one way or the other. The history of this figure is interesting in itself. The mark was used by Goebel on Hummels from 1940 to 1959. The written 1946 on the bottom was there by a previous owner, so we know that that figure was in existence at least at that point, and gives us evidence. Don't scrub things like that off. Leave them there. You may damage the figure, or just leave them there. So it gives you evidence that that figure is as old as we claim it is. And look, there's an absence on her figure of the U.S. zone. When we have an absence of U.S. zone, that tells us it's in the time period before Germany was divided up, and that division took place at the Potsdam Conference in May 1945. So now I have condensed it further to be able to say this figure that Teresa has is pre or at 1945. There's no doubt in my mind about it. We're within 5 years now. 1940, when it was created, TMK2s, to up to 1945, because it does not have a West Germany stamp on it. Additionally, according to Goebel, during World War II, the production line on all the Goebel Hummel figurines was virtually non-existent because of the Nazi Germany machine taking over all of the resources. But what we need to understand, we're in an early period with Teresa's figure. So, knowing that the Münchener press is one of the 3 headlines that were in the later figures, knowing the trademark is in the time period that it's in, we can link that back to a handwritten mark on the figure itself. Yes, somebody could write anything on anything, I realize that, but we're adding these things together, and we're starting to come up with a, if you will, a dossier of all those things that say, hey, Teresa's figure is older and it's worth the dollars in that category. And nothing on her figure was damaged. There was no cracks. There were no chips. It was mint, in my opinion. The only thing that was missing from it, she may have it, I didn't ask, but is the box. And I think, kind of, if you want to talk to me about that one, Teresa, let's talk further. But there's so much. There's so much to know. We're talking about one Hummel figurine here, folks. One. There are over 2,000 of these little jokers running around out there in the world. And hey, what else am I going to have to do, right? I'll be doing the research and looking at the things. But I'm enjoying this. I'm having a good time. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to invite you right now. If you have a Hummel figurine and you would like me to help you look at it, I'll try to help where I can. That's what I'm all about. I mean, self-taught, nothing expert about me. I'm simply looking up the information, doing the encyclopedic study, if you will, looking at the information that's there. It is fun to me. It is a blast to do this research. And, you know, I'm going to be sharing more of my figures as we go forward. And I hope you like the videos. I know this one was a little longer than we've been doing. But if you like it, will you give it a thumbs up? And please share it. I'm right at 200, I think 179 subscribers to YouTube. And I'd like to get up to 500 if I could. That's my next goal. But if you like it, share it. And just ask people to look. You never know. How many of these Hummel figurines have you walked by? Or a Hummel in general, a Goebel, I mean, a Goebel figurine in general. Oh, they're out there. And some of them are worth thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. No exaggeration on that. So, Wednesday night, this is the last thing I'm going to close out. This coming Wednesday night, I am going to be able to go on to Dominic Carone, the Primetime Treasure Hunters show, and boy am I nervous about that. To talk about Hummels, boy, that's a big order. Man, it makes me get flustered just thinking about it. Kind of nervous about that, but I hope you will come. I hope you will watch, and I hope you will enjoy. Y'all take care. Be safe out there in all of this mess that's going on around us now. This is a good distraction for us. It's a good distraction for me. God bless you and keep you. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.